gifts have been unopened and put to use except for one. This is the gift your child begged you for. According to your preteen, this gift is guaranteed to help them feel more connected to friends, access important information, and most of all, be easier for you to contact. Your fellow parents promise that this endless entertainment will help you to have some much-needed rest as a parent, and you sure are feeling worn down by the constant conflicts you've been having with your adolescent, who regularly reminds you that every single other kid in their grade has already received this gift. You notice a barely visible QR code conveniently located at the bottom of the box, and you strain your eyes to read the microscopic text typed below. Warning. You're tempted to dismiss this, but after giving it some thought, you decide to take a closer look. After all, you have heard faint rumors, whisperings really, probably by overly paranoid helicopter parents, that suggest there may be some reason to not give this gift, or to delay giving it. And so, you scan the code. Warning. By purchasing this product, you are agreeing to participate in the most widespread experiment in history. Users should be informed that consistent, prolonged use of this item by minors has been associated with increased stress, disrupted sleep, negative effects on concentration, social skills, and brain function, enhanced risks of exposure to bullying, explicit content, and child predators, and marked increases in anxiety, depression, feelings of worthlessness, and instances of self-harm and suicide. This product is highly addictive and may lead to other addictions. Attempts to discontinue use may lead to withdrawal symptoms. This product is not suitable for children. After reading this, the choice seems clear. This doesn't sound any more like a gift a parent would want to give their child or teenager, even if there are some benefits. You've decided to withhold this gift for now. I imagine that even if I wasn't holding this tiny, shiny little box in my hand, you probably already know exactly what's inside. This represents smartphones, but also other smart devices, social media, online games, and the endless stream of scrollable content available to our kids and teens. Of course, this pocket-sized symbol of all things internet comes with no such warning label. And the programs that supposedly require parent permission or have age restrictions are easy for our children to access. You probably already know this too. That is because research has been steadily emerging for over a decade about the supposed dangers of smartphones and social media. Recently, Dr. Jonathan Haidt's book, The Anxious Generation, has sparked a firestorm of discussion and debate about this topic. It exposes the data that confirms a concerning correlation between the introduction of the smartphone and social media and a shocking surge of addiction and mental health issues among teenagers and children. Since 2010, when smartphones and social media first began to soar in the United States, and on the heels of a slow severing from the traditional play-based childhood, children and teens began to spend less and less time with friends, becoming increasingly disengaged in the real world, while simultaneously reporting skyrocketing rates of focus fragmentation, sleep deprivation, addiction, and feelings of loneliness, and dissatisfaction with life. These realities are hardly surprising considering that teenagers spend on average between 6 and 9 hours per day on devices, not including their time spent in the classroom or on homework, and nearly 50% of teens say they are online almost constantly. As usage and dependency has increased over the past decade and a half, youth mental illness, clinical depression, and suicide rates have doubled. Emergency room visits for self-harm among boys have increased by 50%. Among girls, they have tripled. Among preteen girls, the age I teach, they have nearly quadrupled. Similar findings have been discovered in other countries such as Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, and large parts of Europe. And here, in South Korea, where my husband and I live, teach, and are raising our 2 sons, 95% of teens own a smartphone, and nearly 30% of users as young as 3 years old are at risk of overdependence on devices. In 2023, nearly a third of middle and high school students in Korea said they had experienced depression in the past year. and suicide remains the leading cause of death among young people here, as it has since 2012, with the suicide rate among 10 to 14-year-old girls nearly tripling between 2017 and 2022. While there are many complex reasons that people battle anxiety and depression, harm themselves, or take their own lives, we can see that this increase of smartphone use and social media use eerily mirrors these increasing rates of mental illness, loneliness, and self-inflicted injury and death. This slow, subtle undertow has become a tidal wave that many say we cannot control. That the only option we have is just to ride the current of culture and hope that we do not drown or let our kids drown in the process. My challenge today is twofold. First, don't buy the lie that this is a tide that cannot be turned or is not worth turning. And two, join together with others who want to battle together to fight this tide. I believe one of the main reasons that we have not seen more changes in this area is not just a lack of information, but a lack of collaboration. We cannot do this alone. But if we partner together, determined to make changes, then I believe that we can, and I believe we must, turn this tide. Should governments pass legislation, as Australia has recently done, to limit the use of these programs? Possibly. Should tech companies be held accountable and required to protect the safety of their young users? Unquestionably, yes. But I believe that the key to change and to immediate change is represented in this room. Partnership between parents, schools, and our amazing students. My aim today is to give hope to everyone out there who knows that this is a problem but feels helpless to change it, and to encourage each of us to do our part to redirect the future for this generation. Realistically, how do we do this? Jonathan Haidt recommends 4 foundational reforms in answer to this question. First, no smartphones before high school. Sorry, guys. Second, no social media before age 16 or later. Third, phone-free schools. And lastly, more independent free play and responsibility in the real world. First, parents. We need to delay the starting age of the first smartphone or social media accounts for our students. Research shows that with each year later that a child receives their first phone, they are less likely to battle mental illness, and their likelihood of positive mental wellness increases. What if you already gave your child a device, or your teenager, but you feel that maybe you've made a mistake? At the risk of becoming the most unpopular parent and teacher in this room, I want to empower you in saying, you can take it back. This has to be done carefully and thoughtfully and with support and counsel, and it will be hard for everyone in the beginning. But I believe if it's done the right way, it can be the best thing you do for your child or teen. What if you're worried about not being able to contact them during an emergency? Consider buying a dumb phone or light phone. These are offered by many phone companies at a minimum monthly fee, and a lot of them throw in the phone for free. When you feel your teen is ready, don't be afraid to set limits on how much time they spend and on the sites that they go to. Studies show that with every hour after 2 hours of use, the negative effects risk increases. Don't be afraid to require open doors during homework, designate common spaces in your home where supervised use of devices takes place, and keep all devices out of bedrooms, at least at nighttime, to protect sleep, ideally 1 hour before bedtime. Of course, if we want our children and teens to develop healthy habits with devices, we must model this ourselves. Our kids, and especially our teenagers, have little respect for standards we hold others to, but not ourselves. As it is said, more is caught than taught. Probably the main reason I am on this stage today is because of Dr. Haidt's rallying cry to speak up and link up. I want to implore you parents to do the same. Buddy up with your child's friends' parents. Even if just a few families who are committed to make changes stick together, it will ease the transition and help your child not to feel socially isolated. It can be as simple as saying, we'll hold out as long as you do. As you join forces with other parents, explore your school's policy on technology use in and out of the classroom. Chances are, if it is a one-to-one laptop school or a school without a complete phone ban, your child may be spending the majority of their lunch, recess, or other free times on a device, online gaming, doom scrolling, or watching videos on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram. And don't forget that the average teen is receiving more than 100 notifications every day, many of those buzzing in their book bags or pockets during class or on their 7th trip to use the bathroom on their way to lunch. Rally with other parents for school initiatives that will make it easier for you and your kids to not have or misuse smartphones, social media, or distracting content on laptops or other devices while at school. Teachers and school leaders, we must partner with parents in this pursuit of change. We are entrusted with their kids for more than half of their waking hours, or nearly half. Administrators, evaluate your technology use in the classroom and out of the classroom, your policies, and consider a bell-to-bell phone ban. Evaluate how your policies are affecting times outside of the classroom. Consider tech-free spaces, or better yet, designate spaces where technology is allowed in these times, but has expectations that are clearly communicated and enforced. Do your own research and study other schools that have made these changes successfully. And after that, equip and educate your parents, teachers, staff, and students to use technology responsibly. Remind them that the mental well-being, sleep, performance, and future health of every student is impacted directly by these devices. Teachers, encourage your administrators to do these things and evaluate your own use of technology. Use it as a tool, but don't lean on it when a pencil and paper or interactive activity may be more effective. Pay attention to when and why your students are disengaged or distracted, and evaluate if screen use is a factor. And don't use free iPad or phone or computer time as a reward or to fill excess time. Instead, be prepared with other alternatives. Draw on your school's resources, especially your collective creativity, to figure out ideas. And look to your administrators to help you with funding, parent support, or training if needed. This leads me to Dr. Height's final reform, far more unsupervised play and childhood independence. One of the most compelling points Dr. Height makes is that smart devices come with what he calls opportunity cost. In other words, what are students doing with the time, or what are they not doing with the time that they would normally be spending on their devices? We already know that most of them are not sleeping the 9+ hours per night that they should be. They're not spending as much time face-to-face with friends. They're not as physically active as they ought to be. But also, truthfully, with this endless entertainment and information in their hands since early childhood, many of them don't know what they are missing off screen. We need to guide them to help them discover their talents, passions, and sense of purpose in life, which I believe is what most students really long for. We also need to remember that students and kids benefit from being bored. They need to be experiencing some time of quiet, a break from constant overstimulation, opportunities to explore and dream and create without an influencer or app telling them what to think or do. I've spoken a lot to parents and teachers in this room, but I want to close by speaking to the group that is not only impacted by these changes, but also perhaps the most influential in making these changes a reality. Students, you can be a powerful force for change. And I know that some of you, like our student organizers for today's event, are using social media and other online tools to change the world for good. As a middle school teacher and a parent of a preteen and teenager, I've witnessed firsthand how these devices change and are changing our students and teens. My fellow teachers can attest to the decreasing attention spans, challenges with motivation, struggles with self-management and following instructions, chronic exhaustion, increased anxiety, and overall distractedness that have been prevalent in the classroom since laptops and smartphones became the norm. And don't even get me started on the constant refrains of "what the Sigma, Ohio, emotional damage," and "that's so skibbity" that I hear in my classroom every day. It's no surprise that Oxford Dictionary chose brain rot as their word of the year for 2024. As I have asked questions, explored resources, and observed my surroundings, I have encountered a sort of shrugging apathy mixed with a white flag waving helplessness. The mindset seems to be that this is a battle that parents and schools and even you kids cannot win, so why keep fighting? As adults, we have accepted defeat and surrendered to this brave new world that has embraced our vulnerable children with open arms. And in the process, we have become increasingly desensitized to the devastating consequences and costs of such a defeat. Stories of teen suicide related to social media, cyberbullying, or even so-called AI companions have become so commonplace that they don't seem to jar us anymore. We are no longer shocked when we hear stories of girls as young as elementary age being blackmailed for nude photos of themselves or unwanted deepfakes being circulated and spread like wildfire among their peers and online. This shouldn't be the way things are. Students, I've heard many of you say that you know this is stealing your life away, but you don't know what to do about it. And it's scary. You feel uneasy thinking about losing something that's become a part of who you are. This, for many of you, is what you have always known, and it feels normal, maybe even harmless. But I spend every day with you. I see many of you sleep-deprived, haggard and half awake in the hallways, walking from class to class or slouched over a screen, eyes down, ears plugged, your scrolling thumbs or flying fingers the most active parts of your body. I've been seeing many of you emotionally exhausted as you try to live up to impossible standards of beauty, achievement, and performance, and relationships measured by likes and followers. I've watched disheartened and feeling helpless as healthy, risk-taking opportunities like talent shows, pep rallies, or innocent videos made with friends have become virtual fodder for mockery, vitriol, and judgment. I've heard many of you express your regret and frustration when you determine to not get distracted, not procrastinate, not pick up your phone just one more time, but then you end up wasting precious hours of your life that you cannot get back. I see some of you getting lost in the virtual world, in online games and social media, a place where you feel connected to hundreds of friends or fellow gamers, but you also feel like no one really knows you and like you have no one that you can trust. And I bet some of you would just like to be a kid a little longer and not feel like you have the weight of the world rushing at you before you even get out of bed in the morning. I think most of you are really honest with yourselves. You will realize these devices, they are not enriching your life as much as they are leaving you feeling more empty and unfulfilled. When I started working with teens and kids over 20 years ago, life wasn't this way. And I want you to know, life doesn't have to be this way now. If any of this resonates with you, I want to encourage you to reevaluate your relationship with devices today. Ask yourself, is this in control of me or am I in control of this device? Are these bringing you joy? Are they helping you make the most of the priorities you have in your life? I want to encourage you to evaluate, be an observer of your own use. See how much time you spend, what you're doing, and how you feel afterwards. Seek accountability, help, and support. Make a plan with a friend who wants to bravely detox from their devices as well. Get outside, get moving, get to sleep, not just to bed. Get busy creating instead of consuming. Get clear on your goals. Get out in the real world together. Change is possible. With great courage and with a committed community of peers, parents, and educators, I believe that we can turn this tide together. And that is a gift worth giving. Thank you.